So the US housing market has yet to see a year-over-year decline in home values. We are just coming up on the midterm elections due to be set in the next couple of weeks. And who knows exactly how the midterm elections are going to affect the US housing market. Maybe you have your own opinion of how the midterms are going to affect the housing market. If so, I'd love to hear your comments down in the comment box. And so you don't ever miss your opportunity to share your comments and for us to bring them up on the screen and share them with the audience, make sure you hit that subscription and turn on your notifications so you're notified each and every time we drop a new video. This is your doom and gloom real estate pundit where I discuss all things real estate. And one thing I wanted to discuss in this video, and the thing that I'm getting questions on all the time, is exactly how far is this housing market going to drop before we hit the bottom? I use a tool, and I brought it up on some of my other channels, where I go through and look at the housing market based on time. We've looked at the housing market through recessions, which we've came to the conclusion that a recession doesn't equal a housing market crash. A housing market crash is actually when the market drops at least 20%. Only 2 times in history has that ever happened: the Great Depression and the 2008 housing market crisis. But I will say that it's very interesting. I went through the tool and I actually looked and saw exactly when the market starts to drop, how long and how far does the market drop when it's in a decrease. We've had 8 straight months of US housing market drops. Now, nobody has a magic 8 ball. However, the one thing that we do know is we do have some things coming up that might impact the rates, which will then in turn affect the US housing market. Now, the Fed has came out and said that once housing appreciation gets down to 0.5%, they're going to stop raising interest rates. Now, they said stop raising them. They didn't say they're going to start dropping interest rates once they get to 0.5% of appreciation. So if they maintain at that level, who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be Armageddon. You may or may not know this, but in Q1 1977, interest rates were at 8.65%. You hear all these people saying, oh, the interest rates were in the 20s and the high teens back in the 1970s. So I want you to remember this. 1977 Q1, interest rates were at 8.65%. Fast forward to 1980, how high do you think interest rates got up to? I want you to drop it down in the comment box right now. So we had almost a 3-year straight on run rate of interest rate increase skyrocketing to 16.35%. Yes, 8.65 to 16.35. So we're currently almost at 8% today. Are we going to see rates run up to 16.35? That took about 3 years. Well, hopefully in 3 years, we have a new president. From the peak in April of 1980, what do you think happened to the rates? Did they go up or did they go down? They actually went into a nosedive and they actually dropped 4%. In the course of 3 months, they went from that 16.35 marker down to 12.18% in July. So in 3 straight months, the rates dropped a little bit more than 4%. However, the worst was yet to come. We went straight back up into an inverted line where we saw interest rates hit an all-time historical high in the entire history of America. And do you want to know what that number was? Take a guess down in the comment box, and I'm going to tell you what it is right after you hit that like button. The interest rates peaked on October 21st, 1981 at 18.39% interest. 18.39. That is absolutely insanity. So if you don't think that the interest rates can go from 8% to 18%, just like they did from 1977 to 1981, you are living on another planet, because Joe Biden and his administration would love to see nothing more than interest rates at 18%. Hell, they'd probably want to see them at 50% if they could get away with it. So the $1 million question is, what happened to interest rates after that? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. So over the course of the next 12 months or so, they actually ended up dropping down to 12.59%. So from July of that year to October of the following years, so about 15 months, the interest rates dropped significantly from that 18% mark down to the mid 12s. But guess what happened? Do you think that was the end of it? No, it wasn't the end of it. The interest rates actually went back up to the mid 14% in 1984. But as luck would have it, the interest rates then dropped all the way down to the absolute bottom of that time era in 1987, down to the nines. But did they stop there? Did they go up or did they go down? They went back up to 11% in 1987. But then over the course of the next few years, all the way up into 1993, we hit our bottom of the market in 1993 in October, once again, October, at 6.86%. So as you can see, over the course of 1977 to 1993, the rates took a massive increase, then they came down, then they went up a little bit, and then they went down. The crazy thing is during that same exact time frame, from 1977 to 1993, how much do you think impacted home values? Home values during that time frame from 1977 to 1993 actually had quadrupled. Home values quadrupled. The average home sales price of a home in that 1977 time frame was about $36,000. Fast forward to 1993, you're looking at $148,000. So the prices actually quadrupled as the mortgage rates were going crazy, going up, going down, going back up, going down. So, people have been asking me, well, how long should we wait for housing prices to go down before we buy? That's $1 million question. I'd love to hear what your comments are down in the description. But the one thing that I know is that I study housing market prices like crazy. So I'm going to tell you about a couple historical time events where the housing prices actually dropped and over what duration of time. So from Q1 1991 to Q3 1992, so 1.5 years, the housing market went down 1.5%. We've actually been about 8 months in a row of housing market drops. So based on that statistic, we would have about another 7 months to go. In Q1 2007 through Q1 2009, we saw the market increase 25%, right? So we all know about the US housing market crisis. We know that the appreciation was skyrocketing all the way through 2007, but in 2007, Q1 through Q1 2009, that's when the market crashed. That's when we saw the biggest drop in housing price appreciation, and it was a 25% drop, and it lasted 2 years. So was that the end of it? Well, what happened after that is from Q1 2009 to Q3 2011, so 2.5 years after the market crashed, so 2 years of a downfall, and then 2.5 years of flatline growth. So that means the market didn't really move. It was literally like a minuscule. Realistically, for 2.5 years, there was a grace period of when the market was just standing still. And that is actually when I bought my first home, which is in Q4 of 2010, which was at the absolute bottom of the market since I've been of the age to buy a house. Obviously, before that, in the 80s would have been a great time to buy too. Unfortunately, I didn't have the money. But then what did we see? We saw appreciation pick up steam from Q3 2011, Q4 2014. So literally 3 years of appreciation, the housing market grew by 30%, increased the average housing price by about $110,000. And then, believe it or not, from about 2014 to 2020, the market was just up and down, and pretty much stayed flat from that 2014 to that Q2, which is when COVID hit. Well, it hit right in the beginning part of Q2 at the end of Q1. They started getting noise building up at the end of 2019, but it wasn't a pandemic until Q2 2022. The market was flat. Now, what happened then from Q2 2020 to Q2 2022, the market took off like a rocket ship. It actually has increased about 29% or $150,000 in appreciation. So if you go back to the beginning of Q3 2011, which is when the market started to grow, to the end of Q2 2022, which is when the market started to fizzle down, the industry had grown on an average of about $260,000 in appreciation in a home, which is absolutely insanity. The average home sales price in Q2 2022 was $525,000. Remember at the beginning of this video what we said the number was of the average home price in 1977 was in the $30,000 range. That means since then, home price appreciation has gone up over 14x. 14x. So when people talk about interest rates and what it does to the markets, is you can't gauge whether or not home prices are going to drop or fall based on interest rates. Right now, based on what the Fed is doing, is actually doing what they said could never be done. But it's going to take people time to adjust. That's really what it comes down to, because we've taken such a steep and fast increase that people are shell shocked. They have to adjust their standards. They have to go from a champagne taste down to beer taste on a beer budget. And that just isn't fair. It just isn't fair to anybody. I'm telling you right now, it's causing a lot of problems in the real estate industry. It's causing a lot of problem in the mortgage industry. But you know where it's causing the most problems is right in American taxpayers' pocketbooks. And if you are buying a house, it's hurting you even more. It's absolutely insane what this administration has done, not only to the taxpayers, but also the U.S. housing market, the mortgage industry, the stock and bond markets, and everything. It is absolute chaos what they are doing. And I hope to God you don't stand for it, because in 2024, hopefully our vote counts. And in the midterms coming up, hopefully our vote counts again. So I hope you get out there and vote and stay safe. And until next time, keep your real estate investment safer. We'll catch you later.